The two pink lines didn't feel real. Just cheap plastic and ink on a stick Sarah held with shaking hands in my crappy car. 17. Senior year. College applications half finished on my desk. And suddenly, this. Fear, cold and sharp, flooded my veins, turning my hands numb on the steering wheel. Panic whispered, "Your life is over." But a different feeling, small but stubborn, flickered underneath. I did this. I have to, something. Sarah cried silent tears beside me, a world of terror in her eyes. I squeezed her hand, my voice rough. "We'll figure it out." The words felt hollow, echoing in the cramped space filled with the scent of stale fries and teenage desperation. Telling my parents was a storm I couldn't imagine weathering. But I had to. That night, the silence at the dinner table was a physical weight. Mom's meatloaf tasted like ash. Dad chewed slowly, his eyes fixed on the TV news, a grim fortress. My heart hammered against my ribs, a frantic drum solo threatening to burst free. "Mom, Dad." My voice cracked, betraying me. Sarah's pregnant." The words hung there, ugly and final. The clatter of Dad's fork hitting the plate was like a gunshot. Mom's hand flew to her mouth, a choked gasp escaping. "Pregnant." Dad's voice was low, dangerous, like gravel grinding. "You stupid boy." The disappointment in Mom's eyes was worse than anger. "How could you? Your future ruined." Dad stood, towering, his face crimson. "Get rid of it." The cold command hit me like a physical blow. "Or she does. That's the only way." "No." The word ripped out of me, fierce and sudden. "It's my kid too. I'm not doing that." Dad's laugh was harsh, humorless. "Playing the man now? You can't even afford gas for that junker." "We'll manage," I whispered, the defiance draining, leaving only cold dread. "Manage." Mom's voice was shrill. "With what? Minimum wage. Dropping out. You'll drag us all down." Dad pointed a finger, shaking with rage. "You think you're ready for this? Changing diapers instead of passing calculus? Paying for formula instead of college?" He slammed his fist on the table, making the plates jump. "You've made your bed. But you won't sleep in mine. Get out." The words didn't compute. What? "You heard me," Dad growled, his eyes glacial. "If you choose this mistake over your family, over your future, then you leave. Tonight." Mom looked away, tears streaming, but she didn't contradict him. The betrayal was a knife twisting deep. My own parents. My home. Where will I go? The question was a ragged breath. "Not my problem," Dad said, turning his back. "You want to play house? Go play. But not under my roof. You bring shame on this family." The next minutes were a blur of shouted ultimatums and my choked protests. Mom silently packed a single duffel bag. Some clothes, toiletries, nothing sentimental, nothing mine. The click of the front door lock behind me echoed louder than any slam. I stood on the porch I'd played on as a kid, the cold night air biting through my thin jacket, holding a bag that held nothing of my life. The porch light snapped off, plunging me into darkness. Shame washed over me, hot and suffocating. Shame for the pregnancy, for failing, for being thrown away like garbage. But beneath the shame, something else ignited. A white-hot spark of anger. They threw me out. For choosing my own child. The walk to Sarah's was endless. Her parents, shocked and scared but not cruel, let me sleep on their lumpy couch. It wasn't home. It was exile. The following months were a crash course in survival. School became a battleground, whispers, stares, teachers treating me like a cautionary tale. I got a job stocking shelves overnight, the graveyard shift that left me drained but paid cash. Every dollar counted. Formula. Diapers. A second-hand car seat that felt flimsy. Sarah and I became a desperate team, clinging to each other in the eye of the storm. Our parents' disapproval was a constant shadow. Her mom helped some, guilt warring with disappointment. Mine. Radio silence. The call about Sarah going into labor came during my shift. I drove to the hospital on fumes, my hands slick on the wheel, the duffel bag with baby clothes rattling on the passenger seat, clothes bought with my sweat, not their money. Seeing my son for the first time, it was like the world stopped. Tiny, red, perfect fists clenched. Exhaustion vanished. The fear didn't, but it was dwarfed by a wave of love so fierce it stole my breath. My son. I held him, this fragile, screaming miracle, and the anger at my family crystallized into something unbreakable. They threw me out. Fine. They thought I'd fail. Watch me. The sleepless nights were brutal. Juggling a screaming infant, homework due at dawn, the soul-crushing fatigue. There were moments on that lumpy couch, the baby finally quiet, when despair threatened to swallow me whole. I'm 17. I can't do this. But then he'd sigh in his sleep, a tiny hand brushing my cheek, and the resolve would harden again. I learned to change diapers in the dark. Learned which cries meant hunger, which meant pain. Learned to function on 2 hours of sleep. I finished school online. The glow of the laptop screened my midnight sun. Every promotion at the grimy warehouse, every A on a test, every time my son smiled, it was a middle finger to the people who said I couldn't. The anger never left. It just became fuel. Fuel to work harder, be better, prove them wrong with every bottle I warmed, every bill I paid myself. They missed his first smile. His first steps. The first time he said, "Dada," clear as a bell, looking right at me. Their loss. A canyon of loss. I look at my son now, asleep in his crib in our tiny apartment, the one I pay for. It's not much, but it's ours. Built not on their conditional love, but on sweat, sleepless nights, and a stubborn refusal to break. They threw me out for the pregnancy. For choosing him. And it was the hardest thing that ever happened to me. But holding him, knowing I fought for him, that I am fighting for him every single day, that's the only family truth that matters now. I became a dad at 17. And I'll spend every day proving I'm exactly where I'm supposed to be.